Welcome. We're happy you could join us for this New York Times event. As a courtesy to our guests, please silence your cell phones.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Linda St. Mark, the director of the Media Management Graduate School in the School of Media Studies.
And I'm Fiona Diefenbacher, Assistant Professor of Fashion at Parsons School of Design. We're so glad to have you here.
On behalf of the New School, we are delighted to welcome the New York Times, tonight's special guests, and all of you joining us in person and via live stream to our campus. This is our 51st event with the New York Times. These collaborations reflect the New York School's dedication to addressing cultural and social issues and supporting creative expression in the arts, social sciences, and the media. It's also an exciting time for another reason. The New School is celebrating its centennial this year. Founded 100 years ago in 1919, the New School begins its second century of groundbreaking scholarship, bold creativity, and world-changing ideas.
Back in 1987, in her seminal text, Fat is a Feminist Issue, Susie Orbach argued for the radical right of women to love their bodies, whatever shape or size. She stated, quote, "For a woman to take pride in her body for herself, rather than as an instrument or as an object, is a radical act. For women to proclaim that comfort and pride, at whatever size they may be, creates a chink in the armor of patriarchal order," end quote. Orbach's words still resonate almost 30 years later. They empower those who struggle with the stigma placed on them by society that views the curvaceous body as an object of shame, one to be scrutinized and judged rather than embraced as beautiful. To Ashley, Joanna, and the New York Times, thank you so much for opening the dialogue, and in doing so, recognizing those whose bodies don't comply with the ideal standards promoted by the media and fashion industry. Thank you for changing the narrative and pushing us all towards lasting change.
Now, to begin tonight's event, please welcome Megan Case-Hafer from the New York Times.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Megan Case-Hafer with the New York Times, and I'm so pleased to welcome you to Get with the Times, our live conversation series for college students. Hosted by top journalists paired with famous figures in entertainment, politics, sports, business, and more, the series is all about inspiring young people to get involved in the issues that matter to them the most. Tonight's program features model, designer, author, and entrepreneur Ashley Graham, who has become a leading voice in the national conversation around body positivity. As the first size 14 to be featured on the cover of Sports Illustrated Swim and the first curvy model of her generation to receive a major beauty contract, her influence has reshaped the fashion and media industries and redefined traditional beauty standards. When she is not designing size-inclusive clothing and swimwear or gracing the cover of magazines like Vogue and Cosmopolitan, you can find her hosting her podcast, Pretty Big Deal, which features intimate, off-the-cuff conversations with some of the boldest, most influential people in the world. Tonight's conversation will be moderated by Joanna Nikas, a New York Times writer and editor for the Style section, where she primarily focuses on stories about self-care and pop culture. She is also the editor on the New York Times Fashion Instagram, so follow it. Before we get started, the New York Times would like to thank our host, the New School, our collegiate partner, Her Campus, and all of the college students on campuses across the country who are hosting watch parties and tuning in to tonight's live stream. You'll hear from some of them later this evening. Please join me in welcoming Joanna Nikas and Ashley Graham.
Well, this is fun.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. It's so funny, like nowadays, you don't get a hi back, you just get phones.
Thank you, everyone, for coming, and thank you, everyone who's watching us on the live stream and at different watch parties around the country. There's 10 different universities that are watching at watch parties. American University, Boston University, Clemson, Northeastern, the College of New Jersey, University of Florida, Utah, Virginia Tech, West Forest University, and West Virginia University.
Oh, you're done?
I'm done.
Jeez. Thanks, everybody, for watching on the live.
I actually made a mistake. It's Wake Forest University.
Oh,
sorry.
hey, Wake Forest.
So the last time Ashley and I were together, we were, well, on a stage together. We were on a sound stage in Culver City, Los Angeles, in the actual space where The Matrix and Beetlejuice were filmed.
Oh,
and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that stage was where Matrix and Beetlejuice were filmed. Ashley was surrounded by over 100 cameras, and all the cameras were capturing her from all different angles to create the Times' first AR volumetric video. The goal was to capture the human form in motion. In this case, it was Ashley's famous runway walk. And if you haven't seen it yet, I would suggest you do, because you can...
you can swim with me, eat with me, go to bed with me, like whatever you want.
See how Ashley would walk in your dorm room.
Yeah.
Runway walk. And we also ran
You kept it PC. I was like...
We also ran into each other at one of our favorite cafes, which is
Greca.
Yeah.
Greca, we love you. It's in Tribeca if you guys ever like Greek food, anyways.
Most people here are undergraduate students, and I wanted us to kind of time travel back to a time when you were 18 years old.
Woo.
What were you doing? What were you wearing? What were your points on the world?
Oh my God, okay, well, I moved to New York at 17 from Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
So you can imagine, I mean, I'm coming from the Midwest. My friend, who I'm still besties with now today, she told me what I was wearing then. I was wearing metallic silver high heels with like a little open toe, bell-bottom jeans that were like acid washed almost. Like, I don't know if it was acid, but it was like very light washed. And like a bedazzled kind of like Ed Hardy shirt and a lot of makeup. And she was like, who is this girl? And here I am today, not so far off. But anyways, you know, at 18, I had the opportunity to go to college, except for, not in the way that most people have the opportunity to go to college. It was, my mom and dad gave me a choice. They said, you can either move to New York and go after your dreams of becoming this model, who I'd already been modeling since I was 12.
Because you were discovered
In a mall.
In a mall
years old.
at 13. Okay.
Yeah.
12.
And it was like, I really want to move to New York City. And the only way I could do it is if I made it. If I didn't make it within that first year from 17 to 18, I had to come back and go to college.
Okay.
So I did not want to go to college. But you all should stay in school. So, so I did whatever it took to work my butt off. And you can imagine, I'm 17, 18 years old, living in New York City by myself, making friends in a lot of the wrong places, sleeping around with all the wrong guys, making really terrible financial decisions also, because I was making a lot of money, but spending a lot of money. And I had no idea, as a model, when they give you a paycheck, and this is like one of the only industries I think they don't take the taxes out.
Oh.
So I was just spending everything. And I remember my first year, my bank account went completely to zero after, and then it was like tax time, and I was like, I don't have any money. And I had to figure it out, and that happened to me 3 years in a row, actually, until I actually figured it out. I know, I'm glad you guys are laughing. But thank God, yeah, I figured it out. You know, just somehow you figure it out. And I was trying to make business decisions not knowing anything, walking into this like wild world of fashion where they're telling me I'm too big. They're telling me to not talk. They're telling me that I'm just a clothes hanger and to just bleep, keep your mouth shut. And that's the epitome of everything that I am not. And I came from a family who was like, be proud of who you are, you know, be loud and have an opinion, but do it with kindness. So everywhere I went, I said what I wanted to say, but with a smile on my face. And sure enough, it ended up working out really well for me, because I think that people saw that I had a good hard work ethic inside of me. My mom was a farmer growing up, and as me and my sisters grew up, she really implemented that in us. And my dad's an entrepreneur, so I understand the hustle of an entrepreneur. And it's the grind. You're never sleeping. It's just like go, 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 and building relationships. So I don't even think I really knew what a mentor was then. So I just kind of looked up to the models around me or to my agents, and I just took advice. And the one thing my dad always said to me was, ask your agents how you can be better. And I was like, but Dad, I'm great. I'm like one of the best. This is at 18, okay? And he said, but you can always be better. How are you going to be better this year than you were last year? And I remember going into the agency and asking my agent, how can I be better? And he had a list for me of how I could be better. So in the mindfulness of, wherever you are and you think you're doing a great job, there's always room for improvement. There's always room for growth. And I will never forget that moment. And it always makes me want to work even harder. So, but also at 18, I remember hating my body because after being in New York for a whole year, I had enough people tell me, you didn't get the job because you're too big, because you're a size 16 and they're looking for a size 12. And I was like, okay, so does that mean I need to go on a diet? And my agent said yes. His main quote to me that I'll never forget was, put the Snickers down, Ashley.
Wow.
It's time to get serious. And
how did you deal with that?
So he said it, so this is like the most terrifying thing that a model can ever go through, at least when I was going through it, because now it doesn't really matter. It's amazing how the times have really changed. You would go into the agency and they would get the tape measure out and it would be like, and they'd look at you and they'd be like, come here. And you'd be like, okay. And then you would try to squeeze your hips in. I don't know how to, I just like flex my butt. And I think that makes it bigger. I have no idea. Suck my stomach in because you want it to be thin. You wanted, there was like this idea of like being curvy, being thin is what's gonna get you the jobs. But every time I kept going in, I was getting bigger and bigger. I moved to New York, I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know how to take care of myself. I was like working out at the gym, but like, I didn't know what I was doing. And that's when he said to me, it's time to put the Snickers down and get serious. And I just kind of looked at him like with terror and fright. And I was like, I'll do whatever it takes. But next thing you know, I couldn't do it because I'm the type of body, you tell me to like go on a diet and I gain weight, right? Show of hands. Exactly. Thank you for the support. And I tried everything. I mean, I literally did every diet you could imagine, and it just wouldn't come off. And then it wasn't until a client had actually booked me, and it was a nationwide commercial for Lane Bryant, and the ad had actually gotten canceled because it was too risque for a girl my size in lingerie to be on TV. And that's when my career really blew up. And my agent said, okay, this is your time. What are you going to do with it? And then I was like, oh, shit, now I got to figure this out by myself. And I just stayed positive, and I spoke my truth.
And what were some, I can imagine that being 18 in New York City, and like you said, like all these kind of vices coming at you and figuring things out on your own, what were some of the boundaries that you made for yourself, either financially or socially? Just any advice that you can give to young people who are, maybe 18, coming to New York for the first time.
You know what, I'll be completely honest with all of you. I didn't make boundaries for myself. And I think that was a problem. I really made a lot of bad decisions that I don't regret because they made me who I am today. But between spending my money, sleeping around, eating all the things that I shouldn't have been, not taking care of my body, not even understanding what mental health was even at that time. If I were 17, 18-year-old today and there was social media like there is today and these conversations that you guys are having, they're amazing. And you guys are incredible young people who are having these conversations that I didn't get the chance to have when I was your age. So I made those mistakes, and that's why I'm excited to talk to them. I wrote a whole book about them because I want to make sure that nobody else is making those mistakes. So the boundaries, I would have had a list for myself, but also at 17, 18, it's hard to start thinking about like, what are your boundaries? Because you haven't really tried as much as you want to. So instead of, I don't know, even today, the boundaries I've made for myself are, have you figured out that thing on your iPhone where you can like do the time limit of social media?
I always set it and then go way over it.
Oh my God, me too. I set it for 4 hours and it kept going off and I was like, This is a problem. So I started setting it for an hour, and then when that hour would hit, then I would go into business, like whatever I needed to do for my business that day, then I would do another hour of business, and then I would go back to social media, just so I was counteracting it. Because, you know, at home or wherever you are, like, you don't really want to think about, what am I doing with my life all the time? You want to get on social media, you want to chill out, you just want to scroll, whatever. But the black hole will get you.
Right.
That's what we call it, the black hole. Are you in the black hole? That's what my husband will say. I'll be like, I am. Did you get my DM?
And in 2016, you were the first curvy model to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
That's right!
And in an interview from that time, you said, I hope in the next year people will stop saying plus size. They'll just say she's a model. I think that day is coming.
Yeah.
Is that day here?
Well, here's the thing. You know, first of all, the word plus size, like, everybody has their viewpoint on it. That people want to be called it because they feel like it's their community. There's some people who don't want to be called it because they feel like it's divisive. I feel like it's divisive and a bit archaic. But you can't discredit for the women who actually want to be called plus size. And I think that, you know what, go for it. But we're not describing, you know, our friends based off the number inside of their pants. So why do we have to do it for the big girls? Just saying. And, hold up, Joanna. We don't do it to men, right? I mean, for me, it's like, you know, I've never really heard like, oh, this, I mean, there is a category now for curvy men. They're called brawn. But it's not like, you know, we're using it on the streets.
Right.
Right.
And so a lot, you know, time has passed since you first moved here, and you've built businesses. You have now a swimsuit line, Swimsuit for All, a lingerie company, Additional, and you even executive produce your own show, which is American Beauty Star.
Yes.
So what are the learnings?
And the podcast.
And the podcast, right? Pretty big deal.
Sorry.
From starting your businesses, what are some tips that you can give on having conversations about finances? You know, as women, as young people, it's hard to kind of start having these conversations about what you should be getting paid, and what you know, if you're doing an internship and how do you make that into a job. How did you have those conversations with your businesses? You
know, it's interesting. So the first company that I had kind of approached about creating my lingerie line, I knew this was right after this commercial that I had just mentioned got banned from TV, and people were like, oh, are you that girl that's in lingerie? Like, that was always the comment. And I was like, okay. Well, first of all, we had to take it back to me laying on the couch and binge watching TV. And I had just been married, and my husband walks in, and this is like a year after I've been married, and he goes, what are you doing? And I was like, what do you mean? I'm watching Real Housewives. And he's like, I left you in the same position this morning. And I said, well, I moved my head from that end of the couch to this end of the couch. And he's like, Ashley, that's not what I'm talking about. What do you want? Where are you going? And that was like the best smack in the face I could have ever asked for, because it was like, I felt like the commercial was enough, and like, I'm gonna be a model forever, which my mom always reminded me I wasn't. And then he was like, what else do you want? So I thought, okay, let me get serious about this whole thing. Like, let me make this into a business. And I wanted to capitalize off of something that people knew me for. So people knew me as being the lingerie girl. And funny enough, with, you know, being a 36 triple D, I could never find sexy lingerie that, like, maybe I wanted to peek out outside of a shirt. Maybe if I took it off, I didn't want to be embarrassed in my grandma bra. And I didn't want to maybe have quad boob. We know what quad boob is. Here. Thank you, ladies. And it was that decision where I said, okay, people know me for this, let me make that for them, because we can't find it. So I went to a bunch of different brands. Well, first of all, I went to my agency, and I was like, guys, I want to be a lingerie designer. And they just laughed in my face, like, legit. They were like, no. You are going to be a model. You're going to stay a model. You're going to make us great money. You're going to make yourself great money. Then you'll retire, and like, maybe you'll be a yoga instructor. I was like, no, because that's what they kind of gear you up for as a model. And I said, okay. I just took it for face value in that moment. And then within 6 months later, I was like, no, I have to do something. And sure enough, I was meeting with Rosalind Griner, who's the president of Additional, who's out, it's a company outside of Canada, or in Canada. And I said, Rosalind, I'm gonna make bras. I'm already testing prototypes. Wasn't testing prototypes. And I'm excited about this. And she goes, oh my gosh, how can we be involved? And I said, well, I would love for you guys to back the whole company. Maybe we can do a collaboration together. And she said, great, what kind of bras do you want to design? And I lifted up my shirt and I said, bras like this, where I'm not popping out here and popping out there. Do you think you can handle that? And she was like, yes. Within a month, there was a contract sent to my agency. My agency was just dumbfounded by the whole situation. And this is how you go out and you build a company, you guys. Nobody is going to be on your side except for you tell them to. And you have to explain to them, you don't have to explain anything to them. You just tell them what you want to do and you go start doing it. And that's exactly what I did. And then boom, I'm here 6 years later with this lingerie company that rolled into my swimsuit company, which has already been going on for 5 years. And now I've, and then it just keeps going. Right. So that is something that I will always tell young people to do. Don't wait for somebody else to make a move for you. Go out, make the move yourself. Tell people what you're doing. Tell people what you want to do. And if you have to say like, oh yeah, I'm on my way to da-da-da-da, you're not lying. You are on your way. You are on your way to that prototype.
Right.
Speak it into existence. We know all about that, you guys.
And were there times within that like negotiating process where maybe somebody came back, or maybe this was even modeling?
Yes, I got screwed over. I got screwed over.
And how did you deal with that? And how did you stand up for being like, no, I'm not going to take this paycheck. This is what I deserve.
So I didn't get the opportunity to say that. I had to learn my second round of contracts. So because I had so many people like managing my career, it was like, we're doing this, we're doing that, and then it's over, and this is what you get. And what I wish I would have done at 22 years old is said, no, I want to read the contract and fine-tooth comb it. And if I would have done that and really understood everything, then I would have understood that this 20% was going to them and another 20% was going to you, and I didn't understand that. So second round of contracts, I understood that, and then you get a really great vicious lawyer, and then you can just do whatever you want. But the thing is, you have to understand every part of your business. Right. And if you don't understand the ins and outs of your business, you don't understand terminology. There's still things that I'm building today where I'm asking my manager, what does that mean? She gives me like a whole overview of like, this is what this means and this is why you need it. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Right. You should know everything, no matter what you're building. You are the owner of this company. Right? And if you don't have all the information, somebody else is going to have all that information, and they're going to run little circles around you, and then poof, all of a sudden, you're not going to be in control anymore. Sorry to lay it on you thick.
And on your podcast, Pretty Big Deal, you've interviewed amazing women like Serena Williams, Kim Kardashian, Gabrielle Union.
Yes.
How do you prepare for interviews, and what are some tips on being a good conversationalist?
How do you prepare? My God, you're doing it all the time. Well, first of all, what I have to say about podcasts is, hello, you guys can be doing it too. This is like one of the easiest things that anybody can be doing right now. So what I thought, and I'm going to get to your question about
Totally fine. That was my next question is,
good.
If they want to make their own podcast.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
So you're answering it first.
Great. Okay, so I thought that I was going to have to give like a whole chunk of my money to my agency or to somebody else to be like, hey, will you please like sponsor my podcast? And like, I promise I'll give you this percentage and da-da-da-da. I own it, you guys. You can own your own podcast. It's so simple. You just get a mic, you find where you want to like publish it, bada bing, bada boom. I've done mine through Anchor. It's been a fantastic ride. You hire all the right people and it's brilliant. And you can do it literally, like genuinely from anywhere. And I think that one of the things that's most important is to understand what your subject matter is and to keep it consistent. And mine was about beauty, business, and owning who you are. And with every woman that came on my podcast, which by the way, I didn't just have women in the first season like intentionally, it just so happened to go that way. And I think when you let things organically happen, then it's brilliant. So I was really excited just to like watch the process and see how it goes. And it's quite easy. And I know there's probably a lot of podcast listeners in here. So you two, if you have something that you can say, just get a mic. And as far as interviewing, I mean, if they had a book, I listened to it. Because for me, reading, oh my God, it's a snore for me. So I am so an Audible girl. And I'm on the plane, I'm listening, I'm working out, I'm listening, and I can get a book in me in like 2 days. One day if I'm like, you know, a junkie. And then, you know, I really just tried to understand the person I was interviewing. Like, you know, I don't know, I would just watch old interviews. I would like surf through their social media, look in their tagged photos, you know, hashtag their name, whatever it was. And then I would come up with my own questions of like what I wanted to ask them. Because I think sometimes with celebrities, you just see this like one conversation that they're having where they're promoting something, or they have their publicist give them an answer, you know, to talk about something. But in this case, I got to talk to every single woman who sat in my chair, and I said, I just want you to talk. I just want to have a conversation. We put our legs up. We had just like girl time, and that's what I got. I got like honest, open conversation with each of them.
Yeah, and that the part in the Serena interview where she spoke about her coach saying, you know, just kind of like about her decision if she, after having a baby, to lose weight. That was so powerful. How did you come to that?
Well, so I had been watching Being Serena, and I, when her coach had told her, you need to make a decision and you need to lose weight, I started crying watching it, because I just remember going back to when so many people had told me to lose weight, and it was a trigger for me in a sense of like, I knew how she felt, and I wanted to be able to talk about that, because there's so many women who are told you're not good enough because of your weight. And so for her, it was an easy conversation because she's such a badass. But for me, I was like, tell me, what were you feeling? And she was like, girl, I made a decision and I did it. And I was like, okay, good. You know, like we can all learn from Serena Williams.
Right.
Seriously.
Yeah. And you've done a lot of live events as well, like Miss USA or the Oscars.
Yes.
Do you like live events?
I love live events. I mean, like, this is so much fun for me. I get to, you know, riff, but I also, a lot of times this is a live interview, but a lot of times when I'm doing live TV, there's a lot of pressure wrapped around what you're supposed to say and who you're interviewing and all of that. And at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna have fun, because these people are people, I am a person, and we will have a normal conversation. And then it usually just ends up being really great. Even, we just did live American Beauty Star finale, and that was a lot of fun, but you can't mess up because it's live and it's on Lifetime.
And if there are times where you mess up, how do you recover from that?
Well, and I did mess up on American Beauty Star. Okay, so the winner was Lucy Garland, and the producer had just told me who the winner was. And I had it in my head, like, okay, the winner is Lucy, but I have to say, like, congratulations to Axel. I had the envelope in my hand. The producer's talking to me in my ear, and it's like, Ashley, we've got 30 seconds. You need to stretch this. You need to stretch this. And stretching means, like, you know, keep talking. Don't give away the answer yet. So I'm like, you're incredible. I love you. You're going to be great. Da, 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 da. And they're like, okay, tell him. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Axel, you're not the winner. Lucy, you're the winner. And then I looked down, I was like, I didn't open the envelope. Screw it. Ah! And then it was like this whole thing, and I'm like, fudge! And I owned it, you know? It's just like, you laugh it off, you just succumb to the fact that you forgot to open the envelope, and you keep moving on. So be real. Joanna's like,
beauty is obviously something that means a lot to you as well. You were the first curvy model to be the brand ambassador for Revlon.
yes.
So how did you... how did that come about, and how did you start that conversation in the beauty industry?
Well, so first of all, holy crap, did you guys know that lipstick doesn't have a size? I always tell people, like, if you looked in any curvy girl, like size 8 and above, if you look in her closet, you will see makeup, accessories, shoes, and bags, because it always fits. always. And to have Revlon come on and say, like, we agree lipstick doesn't have a size and we want you to be the first curvy girl of your generation to have a beauty contract, it was like, wow, that is a statement. That's a bold move. And Revlon's all about diversity and being bold. And it's just been an honor and a privilege to work with them because they have kept their word. They have used multiple women of color. They had me. They always keep the conversation about inclusion and not exclusive. Exclusive, yeah. And
Is that stuff that you have the conversation before and like write into the contract? And
no, it's not about it being written in the contract. It's about if you're hiring me, you know that that's what comes with it. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about me not having that conversation. And that's what clients really want now is they want to be having that conversation about inclusion and diversity and how to keep the conversation going. So, you know, the other thing about Revlon is that, well, guys, I have to make an announcement. You're the first ones to know. So I launched a lip kit a couple weeks ago. It sold out in 2 hours. So I'm wearing the lip kit that's launching April 10th. Very excited. I'll put it on my social. Yay. Can't wait for you guys to have that one as well. It's kind of like a burnt red brick.
yeah, what is the color name?
It's 2 matte lipsticks with a lip liner.
Oh, okay.
It's called Never Enough Lip Kit. Anyways, very excited for you guys to have that. But that is the conversation, is that like if we're talking to you, then we know that we're gonna be talking about diversity.
So we have 2 more minutes left and then we're gonna go to questions, 5 of which have been sent in from students around the country and 5 of students that are gonna be here and asking questions. So like you do on your podcast, Pretty Big Deal, I'm gonna do the Pretty Big style rapid fire questions.
Whoop, whoop.
I know you had a karaoke birthday because our birthdays are really close.
I know, and when we were at Greco, we were talking about it.
Yeah, so what is your karaoke song?
Shania Twain, Man, I Feel Like a Woman. Man, I feel like a woman. And then you have to do that too. Wow. Or J-Lo.
Which J-Lo song?
Oh my gosh. Let's get loud, let's get loud. And then you have to dance like that. Like with the crotch and everything. My publicist is cringing over there.
What is the Scorpio attribute that you most identify with?
Oh, loyalty.
Okay.
Loyalty, loyalty, loyalty. Yes, 100%. Loyalty? What's yours? She's
Yeah.
Scorpio too.
Yeah, I'm a Scorpio too. I would say loyalty.
Scorpios.
Yeah, loyalty. That's a good one.
And
Scorpios
like,
get like a bad rep sometimes.
I think we do, but then again, you know, we're repping us, so
Right.
you know, we're pretty good.
And what is your daily affirmation?
Oh,
I know
well,
you're into daily affirmation.
When I was in my funk at 18 and everybody was telling me to lose weight, I came up with, I am bold, I am brilliant, I am beautiful, I am worthy of all, I love you. And this really just started shifting my brain because I think that, no, I don't think, I know your words have power. And if you're telling yourself you're dumb, if you're telling yourself you're ugly, if you're telling yourself you're not worthy enough to have anything that you want, then that's gonna be your future. So I had to change my words. And it was not easy. It took me years to perfect it and to understand it. But now it's like, I am worthy. I love you. I am bold, brilliant, and beautiful. And it works, you guys. It feels weird when you do it at first, but it really is. It's a really great exercise for yourself.
Great, so I think we'll go to questions now.
Great.
We'll go to our first video question from the University of Florida.
Do we see it?
We're gonna see it here.
Hey Ash, I'm Plak Patel from the University of Florida. I wanted to ask if there was a pivotal moment in your life or career that led you to empower women and set new standards of beauty.
Wow, was there a pivotal time in my career? I mean, I have to say there's been a few times in my career where I'm like, wow, I have a message and people want to hear it. And a lot of it started on social media. And that's why I want to encourage all of you guys, like, you have a platform. Use it. If you want to change the direction of somebody's idea or a customer, you know, or as a consumer, and you want to tell a company like, hey, I don't like this, use your platform. Those people are really listening. So I just started telling my story on social media. I started not retouching my cellulite, and people were like, wow, that's new and that's different. What do you know? Social media is a powerful thing. And I think that if more people used it in the right way, we could really change the world.
You mean for the campaigns for your line?
My personal photos, yes. And then I have been having the conversation with clients, like, please don't retouch this out. And then sometimes they do retouch it out, and they get bad press for it. And I was like, told you guys not to retouch it out. But this is the kind of conversations that I'm still struggling to have sometimes on set with, you see those red stretch marks on the inside of my thigh, leave those. Those are new and those are real, and we need to talk about those. And people will take them out, but I'm not afraid to talk about it. I'm not afraid to show it on social media. So, it's a constant conversation that people are slowly changing, but that customers are slowly changing and getting on the bandwagon, but it's constant.
We have a question here from...
Hi, Ashley.
How are you?
Good, and you?
Good, thanks.
My name is Sophia, and my question is, in your own words, how do you define beauty?
Oh, how do I define beauty? Beauty is personal, it's diverse, it's inclusive, it truly is from within. I mean, I think that everybody has their own version of beauty, and I think that's the beautiful thing about beauty today. And fashion is finally slowly catching up, that we all come in different shapes, sizes, and colors, and the whole gamut. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to the second video question from Clemson University.
Hi, Ashley. My name is Megan Habel. I'm from Clemson University in Clemson, South Carolina. Thank you for being such an awesome role model to women everywhere. And I just wanted to know, how do you deal with rejection, and how has rejection shaped you into who you are today, made you stronger? Thanks.
That's a really good question. So I have a great example. So we all know Italian Vogue, right? In fashion, it's like the creme de la creme. If you're on the cover of Italian Vogue, you have made it. And then everybody in the whole world wants to call you and work with you. So I was on hold for Italian Vogue cover, and I was on hold with 3 or 4 other girls. And I went in for the casting, my palms are sweating, the whole thing. They're like, you're on hold. Woo! Night before, I have to call my agent. This is a bad sign. I have to call my agent. Hey, did I get the job? It's tomorrow. He's like, there's 2 days. You know what? You didn't get confirmed for the first day, but there's hope. There's second day, maybe you're gonna get it. I'm like, okay. I know that it's 3 other brunettes that are also very curvy. And I'm like, okay, all right. I got some competition. This is fine. It's gonna be all right. The first day is done. I call my agent again. Bad idea. He said, no, you didn't get it. And I just burst into tears, and it was like, wow, I didn't get this cover. That is devastating. So I spoke to my agent. I was like, is this gonna change my career? Does this mean these 3 brunette girls their career is gonna take off and skyrocket, and I'm gonna be left alone and nobody's even gonna care about me? He's like, no, don't worry about it. Everything's gonna be fine. Boom, the actual cover comes out. And of course, these girls, everywhere. Were people talking about me? No. But I had to change my mind. And in changing my mind, I said to myself, this was not my job. This was not my success. And I really had to have some internal work where I was like, Ashley, I had to repeat these things to myself. And when you speak out loud, that energy and those words become your reality. And I learned a very important lesson in that not everything is going to be yours. If you think that you deserve something, you probably don't deserve it. And not everything is going to come so easy. And I'm so glad that happened to me, because it made me realize, if I don't get it, keep it moving. Who cares? There's always something bigger and better on the other side. I still haven't been on the cover of Italian Vogue. It's okay.
We have another question from a new school student.
Hi, Ashley. How are you?
Good.
My name is Dahlia. So you're a spokesperson for the body positivity movement, which is a movement founded by women of color. Can you talk a bit about the influence of women of color in the movement?
100%. This is such a good question. So I talk about this a lot in my book. Did you read my book? Not yet. It's okay. We'll send you a copy. And you have to talk about it, especially as a curvy woman. I have to have this conversation because women of color have had this body and curvy bodies for generations. And here I am, I know, I'm a white woman and I am on this, it's white privilege, and I can't stand it that we haven't had women of color who are curvy that have had this voice. And we have to start making these opportunities for women of color to have the same opportunities. And that's why I'm very vocal about it. And that's why I'm not afraid to talk about white privilege, even though I get a lot of flack for it, which is really interesting. I get a lot of old white men that email me, "You don't know what you're talking about, white privilege." Well, yes, I do. I do understand it quite well. So I think that there needs to be more representation because there really, truly isn't. And there's women like Marquita Pring, Precious Lee, oh gosh, now there's names that are blanking me. And what? Paloma, my boo, Paloma, thank you. And these are women who have these incredible platforms, who are of color, who are curvy and sexy, and have a great message that you all should be following.
We'll go to our next video question, which is from the University of Utah.
I'm Hannah, I'm from the University of Utah. It's no secret that media plays a big role in having distorted body image, so I'm wondering if there are ways that we as consumers can encourage accurate body representation in the media.
I think I got it.
Do you want me to repeat it? I have it here.
I was like, who do consumers in the body media? I was like, what?
Hannah said, it's no secret that the media plays a role in distorting body image.
Yes.
I'm wondering how we as consumers can encourage accurate body representation in the media. And I'll just say, as the New York Times, we do no photoshopping, so.
I know.
Yeah.
Woo! Very awesome. I have to say, like, it's up to you guys. It's up to you and your platform and the conversations you're having. Talk about it in the comments. Talk about it amongst your friends. These consumers are reading your comments. They're reading your DMs. And they really want to know what you want because your say goes. I'm reading the comments. I'm reading the DMs about my own companies. And I always want to change it so that this is the conversation that I'm having is the conversation you're having. Because when you get and you start talking about clothes, it's a very emotional conversation. You're talking about dressing someone like even a woman who is like oversized 12. She's in a lot of ways never been regarded. She's just been like, oh, size it up. It looks like fashion to me, whatever. And there are very few designers that are regarding that woman. So you guys talk about the emotional aspect. Talk about what it makes you feel like. Because people are listening. They really are.
We'll go to another question.
Hello, my name is Nera, and my question is, how do you deal with self-criticism?
How do I deal with criticism? Self-criticism.
Self-criticism, yeah.
Woo! Yes, good question. She's like, I'm gonna stand here and wait for the answer. Thank you. Self-criticism is something that I've definitely had to deal with, and in the early stages of my career was the exterior of like my body and understanding why people are telling me to lose weight, and how do I accept. My husband calls these like, it's called the side butt. He likes to grab it. It's cute. Just makes my butt like do this thing. Anyways. But beyond the exterior, I have dealt with dyslexia since I was in 4th grade. And I have to read prompters, I have to read scripts, I have to, understand conversations that I'm having with Joanna. And I have tripped up, I have said the wrong things, I have said words backwards, whatever. And I had to learn how to make it fun. I had to learn that this isn't a bad thing, actually. This is just like a learning curve that you have. How are you going to change how you learn with dyslexia? And I've just made it a very creative thing for myself. And also talking about it has also made me feel really comfortable. So for me, being able to talk about dyslexia has also ignited a conversation in other young people that they have it as well. And we're not alone. And this is a very normal thing. And that. So self-criticism is something that, now it's like, I got this. But I have to deal with it every once in a while. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to the next video question from Boston University.
Hi, Ashley. My name is Zoe. I go to Boston University, and I was just wondering, what you do when life gets stressful or overwhelming, and what do you do to practice self-care?
Great question. So for my body, I like to work out, and I like to go hard. I'm the girl at the gym that likes to be yelled at, like, harder, go! And then you're like, yeah! You might catch me flipping tires on Instagram, you know, crazy shit like that. And for just for my mental health, I meditate and I pray every morning, and I think just having that 10 minutes of quiet time outside of the bed, because I always fall asleep in the bed when I'm doing it. Even if I'm just sitting on my floor and I'm just like, okay, this is my time, and I just thank God for whatever I'm walking into for the day. I set the intention. It changes my mood. Mm-hmm. And other things that I've done that have really helped me is I've found activities. I'm kind of an activities girl. I like to move my body and get my mind off of the mundane fashion craze and media life. So I've got this place that I go to now. I'm going to go for the second time. We were just talking about it backstage. Mm-hmm. It's called the Ashram, and it's this wellness plant-based center, and you do these hikes that are from 8 to 14 miles a day. You do meditation and yoga, and you can make it spiritual if you want, but you really don't have to. I don't. And I think it's just about finding your thing and finding the thing that makes you peaceful and finding something that just grounds you, because our lives are so like this all the time. And then if you're literally like this all the time, you're gonna explode. So what is the thing that takes you down where you can say, I'm grateful for this opportunity I'm in. I'm grateful to have had the challenges I had today. I'm grateful for my health, for my family, for my friends. And I think that that's very important to have that gratitude every day.
What are you grateful for today?
Today, I'm grateful that my husband let me sleep in and he didn't wake me up when he woke up. Because that's a real thing.
Okay, we'll go to the next question.
Hi, I'm Casey.
Hi, Casey.
I know you talked a little bit about Revlon with working with them, and I was wondering if you had any other examples of other brands that are moving the conversation to more positive inclusion.
100%. Brands like Nike, who have Colin Kaepernick, are incredible. That was a master move, in my opinion. Dapper Dan is really creating a lot of conversation within Gucci. That needed to happen, and I'm really proud of him for being able to do that, because he's someone who is wasn't regarded, and people were stealing his designs, and now here's Gucci hiring him to come back and make what he has been making, but now also to have a voice about the Black community within the fashion industry, so dope. Prabal Gurran has also been doing it, and he's all about having not just men and women on his runway, but also having transgender people on his runway. There's also Michael Kors and Christian Siriano, who have been doing diversity on their runways as well. And it's great to see these companies that are really getting behind the conversation and doing something about it, and not just talking about it. Because, we can talk about tokenism, and I know that the tokenism wasn't the question. However, I feel like you can't talk about tokenism you can't talk about inclusion unless you talk a little bit about tokenism. And within tokenism, it's how do we not have that, but still try to categorize everybody into these campaigns or these conversations? But I think that it's the company's responsibility to if you do check the box once or twice, you need to keep checking the box and make it, and not just a gradual thing, but a consistent conversation and action. So, yeah, there you go.
Thanks.
Period. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go to our last video question from Emerson College.
Ooh.
Hi, my name is Ryan Rinaldi. I'm a junior at Emerson College, and my question for Ashley is, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Gosh, I always hate that question. Do you know where you're going to be in 5 years?
No.
I know. You guys are in college. You definitely know where you're going to be. You don't know where you're going to be in 5 years, right? Yeah. And that's okay. Yeah. The thing is, I do 1 year, 2 year build outs with my team. And I just went to Tony Robbins, and he was like, what is your 25-year vision? And I was like, damn, like that's just too much. But it got me thinking, like, what do I really want to build? What do I want to have my legacy be on earth? What do I want to change, and what do I want to create? And I think just having written down everything that I really want to do, like maybe I'll get it done in the next 5 years, maybe I won't. But what you will see another book. There will be more podcasts. I'm producing some more television shows. I'm going to be in some more TV shows. Hopefully some of these like high-end designers will start putting curvy girls in their campaigns. You never know. I know, we got to get there. And yeah, that's, maybe I'll pop a kid out. I don't know.
All right, this is our last question from a new school student.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi.
My name is Yan. So my question would be, in terms of being a model, what do you see as the most important aspect of this job?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. So a lot of models, oops, that's okay. Today as a model, you really have to look at yourself as a brand. And every model now on social media has a voice. How are you using your voice? How are you using your platform? And especially if you're over a certain amount of numbers, people are watching you. They want to know what you have to say. So I always say, like, no matter if you're a model or a company, you have to use your platform and you have to use it wisely. And there's really something about honing in on a social issue that really matters to you. And I mean, yes, you can talk about a vast amount. That's what I do on my podcast. But something that's very emotional and important to me is body diversity, and that's something that I've really honed in on and made sure that brands that I work with, people that I talk to, are making sure that is changing. So, and then to remember that you can use your platform as a model, like you can use it to build companies and businesses, and it's not just about being a pretty face anymore.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you, Joanna.
Thank you all for being here tonight. Really grateful for you all.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, great. Bye, guys. Thank you. Bye, everybody at home. I don't know where the camera is.